you're considering donating your eggs, you might be on the fence. Should you donate to a couple that you know? Maybe you don't know them personally, but you'll get to know them, like their names, their identities. Or should you donate anonymously? Like there's this wall between you and the recipients, and you don't know who the other one is, or who they are, and you'll never know. There's sometimes also an in-between version of that where you don't know who they are now, but there's an opportunity to know who they are in the future. So in this video, I want to present you with 3 things to consider in making what is actually a pretty complicated decision. So number 1 is that anonymity really can't be guaranteed. In Ontario, Canada, it is currently legal to donate eggs anonymously, but it just can't be guaranteed. With these ancestry companies that have emerged over the last number of years, people are finding out who donors were or the fact that they were donor conceived through ancestry testing. And I'll paint a picture. So somebody might donate their eggs to a child who turns 18 and decides to do one of those ancestry tests because whatever reason, right? Lots of reasons, not looking to find out anything about a donor, but finds the donor's brother. So the donor never does the test, neither do the recipients of the donor egg. But that 18-year-old might find the donor's brother, and through that, meet the brother, get to know him potentially, look up his Facebook friends, and can start to figure information out because the results show when there's a genetic match. So the whole thing can come undone, and there's been many stories of this through ancestry testing. So the idea is if it's not going to be guaranteed that it's anonymous, is that okay? Some people will say, yes, I'm comfortable with that risk. Others say, no, in that case, it's a deal breaker. Another consideration is what is the psychological impact on the child? And more research has been done on this over the years. And there's a lot of advocacy now coming from adults who are donor conceived and who maybe were deceived and didn't know they were donor conceived or did not know who the donor was. And now perhaps there's no opportunity to find out who the donor was. Perhaps it was an anonymous donation. So that advocacy and the research is kind of building this case toward there's a real psychological impact on people not knowing their genetic origins, their genetic identity. And so in other parts of the world, anonymous donations are actually illegal. And I actually predict one day in Ontario, we might be there as well. But as of the time of filming this video in 2021, that is not the case. But the psychological impact on the child is certainly a consideration. And then the third is the opportunity to share information. So what do I mean by that? I mean, finding out that a child was born, finding out if that child was diagnosed with some kind of genetic abnormality, or sharing if the donor or a genetic relative of the donor was diagnosed with genetic abnormality, or if there was a need for something like a bone marrow match, being able to have some kind of communication to say, hey, is somebody on either side, depending on what the circumstances are, able to be tested to find out if there's a match. So that ability to share information and potentially meet in the future is something that if it's truly anonymous and there's no way of communicating or finding out the other one's identity, it might be that those opportunities to find out information about how many children were born or medical information might be lost. So for some people, that is perfectly fine. They don't want to know anything. They view this as I'm donating property. It's a gift, but I don't need to know. It's not my business. And others very much feel it's important to find out how many offspring are there, how many children exist in this world that are genetically related to my children. So for so much of this, there's not a right or wrong answer. The important thing is really making a thoughtful decision that's based on kind of having a lot of factors to consider and making a truly informed decision. So that's it for this video. I hope you learned something new, and I'll see you in the next one.